Hey there, friends and enemies. JoPaWrites here again, and today I wanted to talk about the fate of Marvel's Avengers. If you missed the massive news that just dropped, Embracer Group has agreed to purchase Eidos, Crystal Dynamics, and Square Enix Montreal for $300 million. What this means is they are gaining access to IP like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, as well as Marvel's Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, we don't know for sure what the future holds for these games and for these IP. Which ones they're going to decide to carry on the legacy with, or which ones they might put to the wayside. However, they did mention on some phone calls that they have agreements in place potentially for Marvel's Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy, so they can continue to produce Marvel games. And that is an agreement that has to obviously go through Marvel itself in order to continue working on those projects. Now, the question is whether or not it's going to be worthwhile for them to continue Marvel's Avengers after its notable lack of success, according to Square Enix. Square Enix has often said that it underperformed, as well as Guardians of the Galaxy. They said that game underperformed as well and missed several targets, and that is why the game probably didn't get the kind of support they were hoping for going forward with the studio. Crystal Dynamics has also announced that they are working on a future Tomb Raider game as well, which is going to be on Unreal Engine 5. Lots of new information has been coming out on that, although it feels like that's still quite a ways away. So, what does this all mean for Marvel's Avengers? Now, they've already announced, obviously, the new character that's coming out, which is the Thor spin-off character, the Jane Foster Thor, that will be coming and that we'll see in the next Thor movie as well. So I feel like those are tied together. It feels easy to say Marvel's Avengers is kind of a marketing platform for the MCU and vice versa, because it does try to capitalize on the hype whenever a new thing is coming out. Like, we know that there have been rumors for a long time that She-Hulk is coming out. The likelihood is that She-Hulk would come out alongside the She-Hulk show, just like Hawkeye did with the Hawkeye show, just like Spider-Man did when his new movie was dropping as well. So they tend to tie all these things together. Would the MCU and Marvel in general want to lose that? And that's the question that I have. Because if the offer is sweet enough, then the Embracer Group is going to want to continue this game and maybe ramp things up, because this might be a perfect opportunity to do like we've seen with Final Fantasy Realm Reborn, like we've seen with No Man's Sky, and turn the corner and make this into a viable franchise. Because the question is, like, is this going to be worth it for Embracer Group? And the only way it does so is if this game gets a complete turnaround, people continue to buy skins, and they're able to pump out characters a little bit faster. Because right now, most people who are playing Marvel's Avengers have everything. So there are several things that you would need to do in order to make this viable again. One, bring in new players, right? Two, develop new characters at a slightly faster pace in order to allow those skins to be profitable, because this game sells for rather cheap now. All of its DLC have been completely free. I don't see them going back on that at any time. So the only way for this game to make money is through microtransactions. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, I hate microtransactions, and I understand that. However, this cheap game, especially if you did not buy it at full price, it has a lot of really cool skins, a lot of interconnected skins between the MCU, between old comic skins that are really awesome. They honestly do a really great job with the skins. And you look at some of the options that they've had, and it's really why the game continues, I believe, to kind of chug along in a way that most people might not have expected at this point in the game's time frame. You know what I'm saying? The game itself, it came out with a raid, it's had several DLC, that have been mixed as far as how well they're received. All the characters that they've come out with have been really, really good, which is awesome. But it does kind of make you wonder how long this game has left and whether they're just going to be like, you know what, we're not going to completely shelve this game, but we're going to stop updates and no longer provide future opportunities for content. And that's one of the things that I worry about going forward, because it's a sunk cost at this point for the new Embracer group. They don't have to worry about the money that Square Enix put into promoting this game anymore. They don't have to worry about anything like that. They can either say, you know what, we're not going to make a profit on this game, so we're going to scrap it completely, or they could see it as a fresh start and be like, we don't have any liabilities with this game. Let's see what we can generate from this and capitalize with the Marvel franchise. They've done a lot of reworking lately from Crystal Dynamics to make this game better. Brought in Nick Fury, changed the way the quest system works. Again, they've added raid, they've added other content as well, and it'll be interesting. There's a potential, if we get a decent update with Jane Foster's Thor, that a turnaround could be in sight, especially with the sale, and if they're able to market it as a comeback story and really focus, like I said, on the skins, as well as the new characters and the new content. That remains to be seen on my end. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. If I had to guess, though, I think this is unfortunately going to be the end part of Marvel's Avengers, and they are going to ultimately scrap this and go in a different direction. Whether that means a new Marvel game eventually, if they get the Marvel IP with some of their studios, Embracer, maybe they go in another direction. Hopefully a Guardians of the Galaxy sequel, because I thought that game was pretty good. But I just don't see them continuing long term with Marvel's Avengers, especially with the rate of content that we've seen lately. The game is dying a slow death, unfortunately. I know they want to fix some of the base issues with the game, but without new content, people just are not going to come back, no matter how much quality of life improvements you see. You need to give them a reason to be excited. Maybe Jane Foster's Thor is that. Maybe Mighty Thor is the instigator to have people coming back, but they have not announced anything besides a new character. If they just drop a new character, and that means all the old players have to play through the same content again in order to level them up, in order to get them to where you want them to be, it's probably just not going to be worthwhile for most people. And unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. I know a lot of people. Marvel's Avengers has a die-hard fan base, and I understand why. The characters feel really good. The content that I've played has been fun for a bit. The raid is a blast. Beating that was very satisfying, and it's really unfortunate that the game just does not have more to offer with regards to future content and reasons to be excited. Now, we'll have to wait and see. I know there's a lot going on with Embracer Group. This agreement is not fully finalized either, but that's where I see it standing. Unfortunately, I think we're seeing Marvel's Avengers on its last legs, and I hope that isn't the case, because my favorite thing is when Marvel's Avengers is in the rotation, I can play as my favorite superheroes and go through and just really wreck shop in this game. I love it. And I hope that we get a turnaround. Whether that's the case or not, we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is JoPa. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It helps me out tremendously. Shows you want to see more content from me in the future. And if this game makes a comeback, I will absolutely have much more Marvel's Avengers content going forward. Hit that notification bell. Comment below. Let me know. Do you still play Avengers? Would you still play Avengers? All that kind of good stuff. And I'll catch you all later.